Eyes of Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
Just resiliency, just a bunch of guys that not focused on results. Obviously, we want wins, but just focused on the process and loving each other, having fun with one another. The mindset hasn't changed from week to week. Through a couple bad losses in a row, a couple close wins. Everybody's kind of mindset's the same. So it's been really fun to be in that locker room and just see the attitudes of guys day in and day out. And, it's those things that you look too late in the season and say, hey, we've been here before. We've been through tough times, been through good times. And you hope you can get on a roll and remember, what it took to get to where you are now.
Whose birthday party is it there at the Thielen household? Balloons in the background?
Yeah. Probably one of the three Rugrats, I'm sure.
A little Rugrat birthday there.
Rugrat's birthday. It's great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Judd loves kids' birthday parties.
What are you crabby for? It's by a
Happy
week.
Birthday. No, it's great. Happy birthday.
Uncle Judd loves little Rugrats.
Enjoy.
This is Mackie and Judd, daily Minnesota sports entertainment. Hopefully you guys were entertained by a bunch of crappy football. This is what happens when the Vikings don't play on Sunday. Bunch of crappy blowout football games, all right? At least the Vikings make things interesting, whether they win or lose down the stretch. There's always a game-winning drive knocking on the door on the Red Zone channel for you.
6 noon games. You need more. Like that noon, get at least 8 games, right?
Especially
6
when the Jets
games,
are one of them, because the Jets don't even count. Yeah.
Right. Well, and the Giants, right? Like the Giants were playing against Carolina. What an atrocious football game.
Yeah, it was a bye week for the entire NFL, apparently.
It really was. It really was. But at least cram in 8 games to the first window, so there's an opportunity for what Phil just said, which is, my God, hey, look, this finish is really fun.
Right. That's right. We're here to moan and complain for the entire show today. Mackie and Judd, daily Minnesota sports entertainment. And every single Monday, we hit you with Viking statements and statements from the broader world. We also have a little Bears vet line off of yesterday's debacle. So let's fire it up here. All right, Judd Zolgad, start us off with a Vikings statement.
Okay, so from watching the 6 exciting, exhilarating noon kickoff games on Sunday, here's my first statement regarding the Minnesota Vikings. It's time to pile on the points. It's time to pile on the points. Did you guys happen to see what the Cincinnati Bengals did to the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday? They beat them 41-17. They piled on the points. It is time to come out of the bye and understand that these first 4 games, while extremely difficult, can be won if you pile on the points. Let Kirk throw, let Kirk cook, open up the offense. Get past this. We have to win these games, Phil, 9-7. Let's win them, let's win them 21-10 or something like that. Pile on the points. Don't be afraid to score. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the Bengals gave you a tutorial on how to beat a team like Baltimore. Outscore them and just bury them.
I know. Yeah, we gave you the stat last week, too, that there were, I think, 6 games that the final score was a 3-touchdown margin or more. And there was a bunch of blowouts yesterday. And over the last 27 games, the Vikings have only had one 20-point lead or more. And some of it's because their defense doesn't really allow you, especially last year, that type of a cushion. But Bill Belichick doesn't even have that good of a team. And he said, that's not going to stop me from sticking it to the team I hate the most, which is the New York Jets.
Yes.
And he's throwing passes late in the game. I just have that. I'm with Judd here. Have that mentality. You're going to bury someone by 30 points. You're not going to do it to the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, but like the Lions, the Panthers are trying to give you the game in the first half. Throttle. You can learn a lot from some of those bad red zone games yesterday. The Bengals over the Ravens. Good example. Yeah.
And if you go into the Baltimore game there and say this, odds are Lamar Jackson is going to put up points and yards for sure, right? Like we have to accept that.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully we do a good job, but let's say we don't. Is that a death knell? And if you pile on the points, the answer is it's not. So instead of this, we're going to stop. You should see what I've devised to stop Lamar so we can win a tight game. Screw that. Score more points.
Love it. All right, Declan.
All right, my first statement. My first statement is, let's get spooky. Let's get spooky. The bye week is over. The Vikings are 3-3. They return to action on a Halloween night against the Dallas Cowboys. Also, the graphics for Sunday Night Football. Did you guys see those they put out yesterday for the Vikings and Cowboys game?
Let me guess. They're Halloween themed.
They're very Halloween themed, and they're very spooky. They're very spooky looking because it's obvious they're playing on Halloween night.
Love it.
And even though the Packers have a leg up in the North, they have a game in hand, and they're a couple games up. I wouldn't worry about it. I say control what you control. And even though the schedule gets tough out of the bye, it's going to get even more spookier after the Cowboys game because you're going to be on a gauntlet of a road schedule in November. But if Kirk is cooking and the Vikings can figure out ways to win some big games, you're going to see a very spooky team that's going to start popping up. So I think let's get spooky. Let's get spooky. That's my opening statement.
This is the most excited I've been for a Vikings game so far this year. I'd have to go back and sort of see how far back into last year's schedule. It might be the most excited I've been for a Vikings game in like a full calendar year. This is going to be great. We're going to find out more about this team.
Absolutely.
I think the Cowboys are one of like the 5 or 6 best teams in the NFL so far this year. It's national TV. It's Kirk Cousins in primetime. It's a national spotlight on a Vikings team that has clawed its way back into, like, if the playoffs started today, they'd be in the playoffs. And so I'm with Dex here. Let's get spooky. Let's get weird.
Let's get spooky.
Let's get whatever you want. Let's get Vikings Cowboys on national TV in 6 days, baby.
These next 4 completely define you. Completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's a blast.
They are going to be, because you've won 2 games, but the key there is it's Detroit, Carolina, and Sam Darnold, by the way. Oh my God. I'm done there, okay?
They benched him
but I mean,
yesterday.
they should bench him. He's awful. He's hopeless.
They benched him, and then they brought in, I think it's P.J. Walker, who was an XFL quarterback a couple years ago, and he went, when I last looked, he was like 2 for 11 for like 12 yards or something. God. Watch them trade 5 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson tomorrow morning.
And did you see the Teddy Bridgewater clip roaming around the other day from Patrick Peterson's podcast? He had Teddy on and basically admitted when he was in Carolina that Joe Brady and that offense did not ever run 2-minute drills in practice. They just didn't run 2-minute drills.
This Joe Brady thing, like, he is a genius, and he's on the next head coach of some team, is such garbage.
Yeah. They didn't run 2-minute drills?
They did not run 2-minute drills. And
what were they doing?
The clip was Teddy was also...
You should only run 2-minute drills.
Yes.
Like, it should be
Brian
the only thing
McFadden
you run for 2 hours in practice.
And Pat P were like, what do you mean they didn't run? He's like, yeah, we had walkthroughs only on Friday. Like, and Teddy was even talking about, like, look, I didn't play that great, but I understand it's a business, so I moved on. But also, like, the way their offense is orchestrates, basically Teddy took a shot at Carolina being like, I don't think Joe Brady's it. They're set up for
Matt
failure.
Rule is not good.
No.
I'm going to say that right now. He's a college guy. He is a college guy.
I mean, and again, we're not at practice, so I guess we'll have to take his word for it. But, like, if it were me, I would devote like 30% of all practice time to 2-minute drill situations.
Yeah.
Because, like, games are close. End of the first half, end of the game, right? Like, games are close all the time in the NFL. That's your time, man.
Why would you ever come up with a scheme against any team that says, here's what we're going to do this week? We're going to put the game on Sam's shoulders. They came out in the Vikings game and literally said, McCaffrey's not there, so Sammy, this is your ball game. Go sling it. What the hell are you thinking? Like, this guy's pondered too.
Slinging
Which is frightening.
Sammy, dude. Yeah, he's, I don't know. He's got a bigger arm than Ponder had, but it doesn't really help him when he can't read a defense. I
was going to say, I think he's got a 10-cent brain. I'm seeing ghosts. No, you just suck.
Speaking of 10-cent brains, here's my first Viking statement. The Vikings should pray to the football gods that the Chicago Bears don't fire Matt Nagy until the end of the season. Because the Vikings are sitting here and they're like, oh my God, like don't they have to wait till like December to put? No, it's like late November, the first time they play the Bears, right? So we got to sit here for like a month and a half before this train wreck of a team comes into our lives. Just can the Bears get a win just to extend Matt Nagy's stay of execution here? And with that, boys, we've got one of the most glorious things. When the Vikings don't play, the only thing we can hope for is a devastating loss by someone in the NFC North. And we bring you Bears Vent Line. Dex, you go ahead.
Hey, but I do have to say, man, I mean, the Bears are not putting Justin Fields in any sort of position to succeed whatsoever. So, yeah, he did make some mistakes in this game. Yeah, he looked like a rookie throughout it, but you can't put 100% of the blame on Fields for this offensive performance, guys. That's how bad the rest of our offense was out there, okay? Receivers dropping balls, okay? Not even getting open. Offensive line playing absolutely horrible. Matt Nagy and Bill Lazor being some of the worst coaches, play callers in the NFL. I know we were a little bit high on Bill Lazor for a little bit, but guys, what does he do that differently from Matt Nagy, okay? It's not that much different. It's the same system still, and both of them have to be gone by the end of this year.
Courtesy of DeWindy City Productions on YouTube, by the way.
Phil is right, though. Man, if you are the Vikings, you have to get down on your knees every night until you play the Bears and pray to the heavens that they don't make a change, which they ordinarily don't do in season. But my God, if yesterday's loss to the Buccaneers was not a walking advertisement, and I saw, well, they were missing some players, that didn't mean the rest of the team had to give up.
So,
that score was not if we had just had Akeem Hicks, we would have been fine.
My new favorite thing, Dan Orlovsky, every Monday on ESPN, on Greeny's show, Get Up, will just go on there and with film study. And, he's not just, spewing takes. He's, using film study to just savage the Bears coaching staff. And there was a play in that game at one point where Justin Fields was told in his headset, because your headset doesn't turn off until the 15-second mark on the play clock, and all this came out in the postgame. But someone was yelling in his ear with 22 seconds left on the play clock, snap it. They're trying to get a 12th guy off the field, snap it and catch them with 12 guys on the field. So he snaps it, but the 12th guy had cleared off the field for the Buccaneers, so he thought he had a free play. So some panicked coach is in his ear snap it, snap it, snap it, snap it, snap it. And he's like, oh, God. So he has a free play, rolls out to the right, and just throws a ball up for grabs and gets picked off. And they're like, well, that's okay. It was a free play. No, the 12th guy snuck off the field while your panicked coach was yelling in your ear. So let's hear from more.
Wow. I feel like I have begun many a Bears post-game episodes with that word, but here we are again, an absolute embarrassment.
We've covered some bad football games this season. This is by far the worst one of the Matt Nagy era, and it made me reference Mark Trestman twice in my column today. Twice.
Woof. Like that music, Jet?
That was almost porn.
It was almost porn.
It was almost porn.
It certainly wasn't football porn.
It wasn't football.
Those guys had to watch.
No, and it was not. I mean, it was just it was an interesting choice of music. Let's just say that.
Courtesy of The Athletic. Mark Trestman, man. Anytime you have to start comparing your current head coach to the job Mark Trestman did for 2 years, it's pretty bad. We got one more. Bears Vent Line here on Mackey and Judd.
I honestly don't know, because being a fan of this team, it takes away all your hope, man. You guys know, I'm probably one of the more optimistic fans out there, but just watching the Bears fail over and over and over and over again, it makes me question, when is it actually gonna turn around? When are things gonna change? I just simply don't know the answer to that question, okay? I think Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace both are going to be gone at the end of the season with how bad things are looking right now. But I just hope he would finally hire the right people for the first time in forever. But looking at the McCaskey's track record, I don't know if that's going to happen.
You've got a Super Bowl. You've got Super Bowl appearances
35 years ago.
Plural. Yeah, well,
hey, I'll take it.
Well, I was going to say, when's ours?
Yeah. If Rex Grossman
35
can go to the
I
bleeping
would-
Super Bowl, this team should be able to.
The Vikings had 4 chances to have a Lombardi trophy, at least in the case in Egan, and they don't. So don't complain to me about your team until we have a Super Bowl trophy here, okay?
That's
When's it
fair.
going to end?
That's fair enough. I mean, it was 35 years ago, but then, like Deck said, they did go to a Super Bowl with Rex
Yes.
Grossman. So I
They
feel
have
like
appearances.
if you go that far with Rex Grossman, then it's like 30 more years until you can complain on that level. All right, statement number 2, round 2 here, Judd Zilgett.
Okay, statement number 2 for me. Win in Santa Clara. The 49ers, who I thought were going to come back and be real and be good, that they were depleted by a ton of injuries last year, and I thought to myself, okay, this team is going to be tough. And I saw the Vikings schedule, which when they come out of that 4-game stretch is a game against San Fran in California. And I said, okay, that's going to be a tough game to win, man. I mean, last time that you played there in the playoffs, they kicked your ass. This team is going to be back. They're going to be healthy. They're going to be good. Well, guess what? They're not that good. They're not that good. And so if you can, at the very least, at the very, very least, my expectation is if you can split these 4 games, which I know might be disappointing to some, but the reality is if you go 2-2, and let's say that you win both the home games, which is Cowboys and Packers, okay? And then the road games are Baltimore and the Chargers, which you can win, but it's going to be difficult. If you go 2-2, you come out and play the Niners in San Fran. You should beat them. Look at this team. There's a very good chance that you are going to be going against Trey Lance. You should beat them. And if
you should beat Jimmy Garoppolo too.
Well,
I would actually be more fearful of Trey Lance in some ways because he can escape and run.
But the point is, you can beat them, and the point of that is if you go 2-2 in these next 4, and then win that game, and in that stretch go 3-2, that's not terrible. But that game to me goes from being oh my God, that's a really difficult game, you're probably not going to win, to no matter who the quarterback is for the Niners, it's a winnable game now.
Real quick, I'm going to cut in line here. Sorry, because I have a statement that goes right hand in hand with what Judd's saying. I can't tell after watching 7 weeks if the Vikings schedule overall is harder or easier. Because if you go back and look at like the first 6 games, Cincinnati is the 1 seed in the AFC right now after that win yesterday. And Arizona is the 1 seed in the NFC. They haven't lost a game yet. But then you look at like the back end of the schedule, like Judd said, and on paper that at San Francisco game 2 or 3 months ago looked like one of your hardest games maybe on the schedule. Pittsburgh is probably more competitive than I think Judd is giving them credit for, but
they're beatable at home.
By that point at home, like that's a game you're probably going to be favored in. Chicago just looks like a total dumpster fire.
Yes.
So you've got, I'm not going to guarantee wins here, but like you're going to be favored against Chicago twice, against Detroit. You're probably going to be favored at San Francisco. Like if the lines were set right now, like you'd be favored in those 4 games. You'd be favored probably at home against Pittsburgh. And I haven't even gone through the rest of the games, but like those are all games that are happening after this 4-game stretch, and you're going to be favored in 5 of them. Not to say you're going to win all 5, but can you go 4-1 in those games? Because you're looking to get to 10 wins to get in, right? You already got 3, so that's 4. That's 7. Can you grab 3 more out of the other like 7 games? So I don't know. I can't tell if it's easy or hard. Like the Cincinnati game, clearly, like they're beating everybody. So the Vikings don't deserve an award for like almost beating Cincinnati. Like they should have won that game and they fumbled it away on the final drive. And they should have beat Arizona, but it probably gives you a little bit more hope and puts the first 6 games into better context now that we've seen almost 2 months of the schedule so far.
And I believe the Vikings are 2-point underdogs, by the way, going into Sunday night against the Cowboys. So they're actually underdogs at home. Home dogs.
Underdogs. Interesting.
Home dogs, baby. Purple Preps.
Bulletin board material.
Home dogs, baby.
Bulletin board material.
I like that for the Vikings. I think that's great for the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My next Viking statement is maybe you don't need to win the division. Maybe you don't need to win the division. So earlier this year, it looked like, the only bid that was going to come out of the NFC North was obviously winning the division. It looked like it was going to be way too difficult for the Vikings or any team, the Bears, and obviously the Lions are out, of making a wild card team out of the North. But as it stands right now, the Vikings have a 42% chance to make the playoffs according to Football Outsiders.
Yeah.
And an 18% chance to win the North. So honestly, it's still going to be a very tough challenge for them to win the North, with the Packers basically having 2.5 games up on them 8 weeks into the season. But if the playoffs did start today, due to tiebreakers, the Vikings would be the last seed in the NFC playoff picture, which could also possibly set up a date at Lambeau, which would be a hell of a lot of fun on Wild Card Weekend. But I do think, looking at it and the way the Vikings are trending and where the rest of the NFL is trending, maybe the Vikings do sneak in as one of those last wild card spots if you don't win the division.
Yeah, so just to flesh this out even more, so 7 teams get in, right? There are 5 teams in the NFC right now with 1 loss or 0 losses. And so let's just, anything can happen, but let's put those 5 teams on a different level. So you're fighting for one of the last 2 spots with the Saints, who are 3-2. Vikings are 3-3. The Falcons come into life a little bit. They're 3-3, but they don't really scare you. Their schedule's going to be a lot easier. The Bears are in the 9 seed spot right now, tied. They're 3-4, tied with the Panthers, also in the
God
same
bless
spot.
this league. Oh my God!
And then you've got 2-4 Seattle and 2-4 San Francisco, 2 of the bigger disappointing teams. Part of it for Seattle is Russell Wilson's out. But if Seattle gets beat tonight on Monday Night Football, their season's over. They're just hoping to stay as close to 500 as possible for Russell Wilson to come back. But unless they roll off a win or two, they're done. So you're basically fighting with, there's 2 open spots, and you're fighting with the Saints, the Falcons, and then the 3-4 Bears and the 3-4 Panthers right now. Not to say that San Francisco couldn't come back or Seattle, but this is yours. Go win some games and get in. I mean, 10 wins probably gets you in at this point.
And I have never been as unsure about how this is going to go as I am right now. I have absolutely no clue.
Yeah, back to you here, Judd. Unless that was maybe that was your statement.
Oh no, I've got one more. Where's the corner? Rick Spielman, I sat near you on Saturday at the Gopher football game. I don't know why you were scouting that game. I don't know why you were scouting that game. I don't know what. I mean, perhaps the Gophers' offensive line. I don't know. But as I sat there, the news that Weatherly had been traded to the Broncos in a weird trade that's a 2023 7th-round pick as well to the Broncos, and brought back a 7th-round pick in 2022 came down. But still no corner. And all I can figure is by making that trade, the Vikings opened up, I think, approximately $1 million in cap room. Mm-hmm. So perhaps that's to add a corner. And I'm not it doesn't have to be a top line starter. But my God, Bashaud Breeland had about 3 or 4 terrible weeks, back-to-back decent games, but again, against not great teams. And
hey, Rick. Hey, I'm Judd passing notes. Hey, Rick,
he was across the way.
It's Judd.
So I would have had to.
You up?
I would have had to throw the piece of paper at him and hit him with it and been like, "Hey, Rick, where's the corner, Ricky, where's the corner? You gonna trade for that?"
Yeah, I really think we need to light another 3rd or 4th round pick on fire for a fringe starting caliber player. That'd be a great. Do you
want Chris? But here's my problem. Do you want Chris Boyd or Harrison Hand coming into games? Because now,
but what's it going to cost you to? I mean, you're talking about trading for Xavier Rhodes as if it matters.
X gonna give it to you.
It's going to cost you a late round pick to get some depth at corner. I'm not talking about. It doesn't have to be a great player.
But what's the difference?
Do you really want Chris Boyd playing?
Okay, but you're saying that there's a player out there better than Chris Boyd.
Yes,
but is there? For a 6th round pick?
I'd be for a 6th round pick right now. Yeah, sure there is. Chris Boyd's not hard to. Chris Boyd is a corner.
There's just starting cornerbacks available for 6th round picks.
No, it's not a starter. Listen to me. I'm talking about a backup. I'm talking about a backup.
Why do you care about a backup?
Chris Boyd's a backup because Bashaud Breeland gets hurt almost every game.
But a backup's going to get torched. It doesn't matter who it is. Why light a 4th or 6th round pick on fire for a guy that's also going to get torched?
Because it's a 6th round pick. He's got 90 of them. He's got add some depth at corner. Those Harrison Hand and Chris Boyd, you don't want them playing.
What I'm saying is the Vikings have already, like, over the last few years, the Vikings have lit, and it's amazing how many picks they've just lit on fire in dumb trades.
A fourth-round pick, that was
and
stupid.
They still have 38 draft picks anyways because Rick is
exactly.
just Mr. Wheel and Dealer.
He just got another 7th-round pick from the Broncos.
Judd, let me paint a clear picture for you. If they trade a 6th-round pick for a quote-unquote depth backup cornerback and Brashad Breeland or whatever, whoever gets hurt, that guy is also going to get torched, just like Chris Boyd is going to get torched. It doesn't matter unless there's if you want to talk about a needle moving, like, legit starting quarterback, like the dude in Miami, right? Like, all right,
Xavier Howard. Yes.
Xavier Howard interests me.
Yes.
I'll have a conversation about Xavier Howard, but I'm not.
I want a veteran backup who at least looks like he can play the part. I don't want number 29 out there pivoting around.
So if he looks good in his uniform.
I was supposed to cover. No, there's guys that look like they know what they're doing. And then there's a guy like Chris Boyd who can barely play special teams. And I know he's cocky and I know that they like him, but my God, add some depth at corner. Plus, it's just by this point, a numbers game. Patrick Peterson ain't coming back in 3 games. That's the most ridiculous thing.
I think
he's 31 years old with a hamstring. He's going to be back he'll be back by the Packer game. Trust me. Percy Harvin will not be traded. Trust me. Stephon Diggs is going nowhere. Trust me. That's what I should have told him. I don't trust you.
I think you underappreciate the unwarranted cocky cornerback, the guy that gets beat 8 times, but on the 9th time when the game's out of hand,
you get this, and you get the finger wag and the 4th down, like I did it. The receiver can drop the bleeping football, and you get the finger wag and the 4th down. I did it. No, you get off the field.
Amazing. All right, Declan, you can either break the tie. Would you trade a 6th-round pick for a guy who's going to get torched, or no?
That's not the way to put it. Do you want Chris Boyd having to play when Patrick Peterson's probably going to miss more than a month?
I don't want Chris Boyd playing significant snaps.
Exactly.
So I'm actually with Team Sports Dad here.
Exactly.
I would
That's
do
fair.
it. I would 100%.
It's a 6th-round pick. The man will get 14 more of them next Saturday.
Oh, my God.
I just traded a jug of milk to the Jets. I got a couple 6th-round picks.
All right. Any final Viking statements from you guys?
I'm good. I just want to get spooky. Let's bring on a hobbled Dak Prescott and let's get this rolling.
All right. Well, then let's hear from Dan Campbell for no reason other than we just want to hear from Dan Campbell.
You think you like football? Well, Dan Campbell doesn't just like football. He loves football.
If this does not continue to sting and burn and taste like, you know what, then you got a problem. You cannot allow yourself to go numb. You can't. Because I'm not. All it does is just piss me off even more, and it just motivates me to want to get out of this mess. So, and I do think we have the right type of guys. And so as long as they continue to hate this taste, they'll come back to work and be ready to go. They will. And I think we got the right type of guys to do that. I do.
You like how that tastes?
Oh, football!
Football! Yeah! Football! Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
They pulled out all the stops in that game, at least in the first quarter. In the first 5 minutes of game time, screen pass for a touchdown, onside kick recovered, and then a fake punt literally in the first 5 minutes of game time to take a 10-0 lead. Just couldn't hold up. Of course, it was Jared Goff that just throws the self-sabotage interception. Poor guy.
Oh, my God. That was so... If this doesn't continue to sting... And it's not an STD, Dan. It's a football loss. If it doesn't sting and burn and you don't have to go to the doctor to get meds to erase it, then you're not trying.
Maybe the Lions have a depth cornerback the Vikings can trade for.
That's fine. You know what? I hope Chris Boyd has to play, and I hope I hope that you see him standing still as guys run past him, and then you come on the next day and say, you know what?
Why didn't they trade for a cornerback? I said it all along.
Sports Dad, you were right. They should have traded for him.
You think you like football? Well, Dan Campbell doesn't just like football. He loves football.
Our guys come back to work. They were ready to go. They believed in the plan. They executed the plan for the most part, minus couple plays, and that's what happens. You give up a shot play. We're not ready for a blitz. And now he's got all time, all day long to see it, and it's just it's too tough. You leave that door shut, please.
God.
Oh, dude, he's great.
Oh
he
my
was
God.
he was ready to murder whoever opened that door.
Yeah.
I would
Like,
not. I would not want to be the Lions head PR guy.
No.
Oh my God. No.